What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Eager Racing Network. Today, we are going to be predicting the 16 drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs next year. Who will they be? Well, we won't know until September, but for right now, I might as well just predict. So, it's much easier this year since the winning you're in is gone. That kind of randomness element is just kind of taken out of there. So there's a really good chance I go 16 for 16 here. There's also a really good chance I get one or multiple of these predictions very incorrect. So maybe you're in September right now laughing at me for how wrong I was. But anyways, let's just get right into it. First off, I'm just going to name 4 drivers at once. I think last year's Championship 4 in its entirety will make the playoffs in 2026. I'm talking about Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe, and William Byron. Kyle Larson, defending series champion. The defending series champion has never missed the playoffs in the following season, and I don't think Kyle Larson is going to be the first one to do so because he is a very good race car driver. He also would have won the championship if the chase format existed in 2025. So Larson's going to be a great competitor. Denny Hamlin has been through a lot this offseason, from the lawsuit to tragically losing his father. Denny Hamlin has had a lot on his mind this offseason and really hasn't had time to take a break from the heartbreak that also was Phoenix last year. So Denny Hamlin, while it might take him a bit to recover, I think Denny Hamlin will still make the playoffs next year. Chase Briscoe, his first ever season where he was a championship contender. He got his 3rd career win this season, and he also got his 4th and his 5th, and his first ever Championship 4 appearance. So Chase Briscoe, definitely going to be a contender in 2026. And William Byron has won multiple races every year since 2022. So William Byron, yeah, I think it's very likely that he will make the playoffs this next upcoming season. 3 more drivers that I think are pretty much locks are Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell. Were not for the winning you're in existing or just bad luck at Las Vegas and Talladega, these 3 drivers probably would have been in the championship contention or would have made the championship 4. All 3 of these drivers have made the championship 4 multiple times in the 2020s. Chase Elliott is a Cup Series champion in the 2020s. He won back in 2020. And ever since his injury in 2023, Elliott has not been the same. He still won 2 races last year and was definitely a championship contender. He's Mr. Consistent with this new format that kind of promotes consistency. It definitely promotes winning, but it definitely doesn't promote winning as much as the last format. So I think, if anything, Chase Elliott will benefit from this new format. Ryan Blaney won the championship back in 2023, and I think he very well could have won the championship last year, if not for some bad luck in the late season races, and unfortunately couldn't win the Fall Martinsville race 3 years in a row to make his way to Phoenix. But Ryan Blaney will certainly be a driver to beat. He won Phoenix. Ryan Blaney literally won Phoenix, so he is your defending race winner. So Blaney definitely going to be a threat, and Christopher Bell won 4 races, a 5th if you include the All-Star race, and he just had a very good 2025 season. And yeah, he's going to definitely be a contender in 2026 with the new chase format. I'm going to throw 2 more drivers into essentially playoff lock territory. 2 of the 23XI Racing drivers, Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick. I think these 2 drivers will both make the playoffs in 2026. Both made the playoffs in 2025. Tyler Reddick didn't win, but he still had a very consistent year. Was pretty good. Was eliminated in the round of 12, which was his worst season since 2022. So it wasn't a very good year for Reddick, but it was a very good year for Bubba Wallace's teammate, winning the Brickyard 400 and making the playoffs once again. Bubba Wallace had a great season. Reddick had a bit of a down year, but Reddick certainly had a playoff-worthy season, and I think he will have another playoff-worthy season in 2026. Let's do another driver. This driver, many people consider to be on the hot seat, but I personally think he would definitely benefit from this new chase format, seeing as he has won 1 race in the past 3 seasons, 2 races in the past 4 seasons. I'm talking about Alex Bowman. He unfortunately got eliminated in the round of 16 last year, but I think he definitely would benefit from this chase format because he has had scares in a couple of these seasons solely because he just doesn't win races very often. Alex Bowman Poor man's Chase Elliott. He's Mr. Consistent, doesn't win very often, but I think if winning you're in doesn't exist, Alex Bowman would have a very good season, and I think he will make the chase in 2026. I think I'll kind of safely lock in this next driver too. Although I think a lot of people aren't going to safely lock this driver in, even though he has won 2 championships in the next gen era. I think you know who I'm talking about, Joey Logano. A lot of people are haters on Joey Logano, to put it simply. A lot of people think that Joey Logano's championships were Mickey Mouse championships, and while I certainly agree with them, I think Joey Logano is certainly a playoff-worthy driver. And while he had some controversies, like in 2024, he wasn't going to make the playoffs if not for his win in the 5 overtime race in Nashville. But I think this season, Joey Logano will redeem himself in a format that promotes good racing and consistency and not luck. I think Joey Logano will prove the haters wrong and make the playoffs in 2026. Throw a couple teammates in here, some Trackhouse teammates, Ross Chastain and Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm kind of skeptical of these guys, but I also feel fairly confident putting them in here. Shane Van Gisbergen won 5 races last year and would have made the playoffs if the chase format existed, but just barely. But seeing the improvements that Shane Van Gisbergen made in the playoffs last year, I assume they will transfer into good runs this season. And I'm skeptical of Ross Chastain. At times, Shane ran better than Ross Chastain, despite only racing on ovals for like the past 2 years. Ross Chastain has been racing on ovals for a very long time. But still, he won the Coca-Cola 600, which is what got him in the playoffs. But it was not good other than that. It was career lows in pretty much every single category for Ross Chastain. So it was not a good year, to put it simply. But I think with this new chase format, Ross Chastain will make the playoffs. The last driver that I feel fairly confident putting in here is a driver that missed the playoffs the past 2 seasons, but was simply just a victim of the win-and-you're-in style playoffs. And I'm talking about Chris Buescher. He has definitely been a playoff-worthy driver these past 2 seasons, but just hasn't won in the regular season, and that is why he has missed the playoffs. But now, it really doesn't matter. Chris Buescher can just do whatever. He doesn't have to win, but as long as Buescher just races like he normally does, Chris Buescher will certainly make the playoffs in 2026. Now is where things start to get crazy, because I feel those first 14 drivers are fairly safe picks, but from 15th to like 26th, it's a complete toss-up. You got guys like Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Josh Berry, Todd Gilliland, Ty Gibbs, Ryan Preece, Michael McDowell, Carson Hocevar, and Connor Zilisch. I think that all of those drivers could very well make the playoffs, but there's questions surrounding every one of them. Will Austin Cindric be good on the non-super speedways? Will Brad Keselowski recover from his leg injury? Will Kyle Busch's new crew chief be a benefit? Will Josh Berry be as good as he was early on last season? Will Todd Gilliland actually be playoff worthy for the first time in his career? Will Ty Gibbs avoid the early season slump like he had last year? Will Ryan Preece be good enough? Will Michael McDowell be good enough? Will Carson Hocevar avoid all the DNFs? Will Connor Zilisch be good enough? Because he is simply a rookie. All of these guys have questions coming into the season. But I think one driver I feel fairly safe putting in here is Kyle Busch. I think with his new crew chief, Jim Pullman, who won the Xfinity Series Championship with Justin Allgaier a year and a half ago, I think Kyle Busch, his new crew chief, will be enough to have him take the next step. He might win, but I think it's very likely that he'll make the playoffs. He doesn't have to win. That's how this new playoff format works. Kyle Busch does not have to win. He just needs to be good enough. And I think that Kyle Busch's new crew chief will put him into the chase for the first time since 2023. Okay, one driver left. And honestly, I just put this driver in here just so that I could delay some time and have you guys not know who I was picking, because this guy had a pretty lame question. I feel like there are no questions surrounding this guy. I just kind of put him in here to not make it obvious, like I said. I think the 16th driver that is going to make the playoffs in 2026 is Ryan Preece. I believe he was 18th in points last season with the win and you're in. So without the win and you're in, I mean, Ryan Preece is almost a shoo-in unless he takes a massive step back. If Ryan Preece races just as good as he did last year, yeah, Ryan Preece is going to make the playoffs in 2026. That means there's a lot of good drivers I'm keeping out. Mainly, I think the one that you guys are going to highlight the most, well, the two of you guys are going to highlight the most are Brad Keselowski and Carson Hocevar. I think both of these drivers very well could win races. Brad, I think his question is the leg injury. I don't think he's going to recover as good as we think he is. I know what you're thinking. He did have that one like leg injury like 14 or 15 years ago or something, and then he ended up winning. But that was 14 or 15 years ago. Brad Keselowski is much older, and we saw Chase Elliott, who had a very similar injury. We have seen that he hasn't recovered from that. So, will Brad recover either? Brad is much older now than Chase Elliott was back in 2023. So, I think Brad is a massive question mark. I think he very well could make the playoffs, but I think there's just too many questions surrounding him for me to safely put him in my 16. And Carson Hocevar is kind of the same, but for a different reason. My question around him is, can he put these races together? He has incredible speed. If it was based off speed alone, yeah, Carson Hocevar will 100% be put in my playoffs. But he had so many DNFs last year. Some of them his fault, some of them not. Some of them were just him doing stupid stuff. Some of it was like mechanical failures or just cutting up other people's messes. And that's stuff that he needs to fix. He needs to just not do stupid stuff. And also, we can't really control whether or not he has engine failures or stuff. So I think Carson Hocevar also has too many questions for me to safely put him into my 16 as well. So there you have it. That's my 16 drivers that I think are going to make the chase in 2026. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you like these style videos, because I know a lot of you guys like the stop motion stuff, which I get it. It's how I started off this channel. Let me know if you like these more prediction news-esque videos, because I'm really curious what your feedback is for me so that I can improve this channel and make it as good as it can possibly be. So thank you guys for watching. I haven't posted a video in a very long time. That Advent 18 was pretty tiring, so I took a pretty long break. Now I'm back. I hope to post a couple more videos here in the next couple weeks. Anyways, see you next time.